everyone, we're here for a book haul. I thought that I wasn't gonna buy that many books towards the end of the year, and here we are. I'm ready for a book haul, so whoopsie doodle. Apologies if you can hear the Roomba going. Barry has that going in our bedroom, and it's a little loud for me, but I wanted to film, and so here we are. We'll ignore that noise and just focus on the books. Even unboxed this one. I have been meaning to, but I just haven't done it yet. So here we are, we'll do it together. Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. So I was watching Leanne's video recently and she was talking about this book. I think she was in the midst of a haul herself or a TBR. And she was just talking about this book and I bought it while she was still talking. So this follows 4 young girls, Helena, Leonie, Naim, and Elle, and they all took an oath to Her Majesty's Royal Coven, established by Queen Elizabeth I as a covert government department. They are all witches. They are all gathered to defend the Queen, I guess. Now, years and years later, only one of them is still really involved with the Coven, and the rest are just kind of doing their own thing. Now, our main character, or the woman who's still involved, Helena, has a really big problem. A young warlock of extraordinary capabilities has been captured by authorities and seems to threaten the very existence of Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and so they all have to get together to try to save it, and it sounds wonderful. I've read one other Juno Dawson book and really liked it, so I can't wait to read this. This seems like the perfect October book. Also, I will say the British cover of this is incredible. In any case, let's read the first line. 25 years later, the night before the summer solstice, 5 girls hid in a treehouse. I like the idea of it, bringing everyone together, hiding away, but yeah, I don't think that's a 5-star first line. Next up is a book I found at Value Village, The Very Thought of You by Rosie Allison. This is a World War II historical fiction book, and it follows a young girl named Anna Sands. She, along with many other children at this time, were being relocated from London, where the bombs are going to drop, into the countryside of England to save their lives. That's the hope of what they did there. And so she goes and she ends up staying with a couple who don't have children of their own. She witnesses things about their relationship that she really should not witness. I believe there's a love affair that she witnesses in here as well. And it is about her experience, and it sounds really good. Let's read the first line. May 1964, my dearest. Of all of the many people we meet in a lifetime, it is strange that so many of us ourselves enthrall to one particular person. Not a 5-star first line to me, but I was really happy to see this there. This next one is a Simon suggestion that I also found at Value Village. This is Human Remains by Elizabeth Haynes. This follows a police analyst named Annabelle who discovers the body of her neighbor. Very much a decomposing body is found, and she's shocked and upset that she didn't really notice this woman not being around, considering that she's her neighbor, and she starts to look into the crime and discovers that there are very similar crimes happening in the area, in this hometown of hers. It sounds interesting, so let's read the first line. When I got home, I could smell the trash cans in the cold air, a faint bad smell that made me wrinkle my nose. That's gross, but not a 5-star first line. Next up is The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. I read The Midnight Library last year, and it really did feel like a big hug, and it feels like Matt Haig writes stories that really are almost self-help. So this is nonfiction, and it's just little snippets of hope And so I'm kind of hoping to like bring this along with me to the office or something like that, and just, you know, start my day reading little bits of hope. I just really love the idea of that. So let's maybe read the first one. Baby. We'll just read a little bit of it. Imagine yourself as a baby. You would look at that baby and think they lacked nothing. That baby came complete. Their value was innate from their first breath. Their value did not depend on external things like wealth or appearance or politics or popularity. It was the infinite value of a human life, and that value stays with us even as it becomes easier to forget. We stay precisely as alive and precisely as human as we were the day we were born. The only thing we need to exist and to hope. Oh, I really like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to get on with this very, very well. Definitely a good one to give to someone who's going through a rough time, I would say. All right, and next, taking turn to more dark things, as is normal on this channel, is the Apollo Murders by Chris Hadfield. Now, Chris Hadfield, if you don't know, is actually an astronaut. And he's written a couple of books, I believe, about his experience and talking about space and trying to get people to be interested. And this is his first foray into fiction. And I'm kind of excited. There's even like a blurb here by Andy Weir. And so I'm hopeful. I don't know what to expect, but I just couldn't walk away when I saw this at Value Village. So this book follows 3 astronauts in a spaceship. NASA has launched Apollo 18. And essentially the concept of it is it's the last exploration to the moon. We're never going back. But really in the background, they're going to stop Russia astronauts from establishing a secret spy station in space. So it's kind of the race to get there first and to stop Russia from doing that. It sounds kind of weird and interesting and a little bit political. So we shall see what I think of this. Let's read the first line. Prologue, Chesapeake Bay, 1968. I lost my left eye on a beautiful autumn morning with not a cloud in the sky. I think that's great. That's a 5-star first line. Maybe there's hope to this book yet. Next up is a book that I got at a little library sale. I was so happy that like the libraries are open again. And I know they've been open again for a while now, but it just every time I go in, I'm just so grateful. So I found this, and this is a book that my mom is desperate to read, and I am desperate to read. So it's The Weight of Ink by Rachel Kaddish. This book goes backwards and forwards in time, which is something I really usually enjoy in books. We follow one woman in 1660 and another woman in the early 2000s. So in 1660, we follow Esther. She's an immigrant from Amsterdam who is permitted to scribe for a blind rabbi just before the plague hits the city. And then in present-ish day, we follow Helen, who is an ailing historian with a love of Jewish history. And then a former student of Helen's discovers this pack of essentially 17th century Jewish documents. And she starts to go through those documents, which must be, of course, the documents that Esther scribed for the rabbi. And I'm just kind of curious. It sounds really good. So let's read the first line. All right. It starts with a letter. June 8th, 1691, 11 Sivan of the Hebrew year 5451, Richmond, Surrey. Let me begin afresh. Not a 5-star first line, but I'm curious. Next up is The Resting Place by Camilla Sten. She wrote The Lost Village, which I read last year and just felt like it was okay. It had a lot of promise. And so I am giving her another chance. I do kind of hope that it will be better. I will say I'm a little nervous because this is based on the concept of face blindness. Alice Feeney did a book about face blindness, and I just think It's very easy to lean on in a lazy kind of way as a writer. So I don't know, but I'm giving it a whirl. So we follow Eleanor, who has face blindness, and she walks in on the scene of her grandmother's murder, and she actually comes face to face with the killer, but obviously won't remember what he or she looks like in the future. Now, it turns out that her grandmother has left her the house, and it is a looming estate tucked away in the Swedish woods. It is also the place where her grandfather had died suddenly, a place that has housed a chilling past for more than 50 years. So she, along with her aunt and her boyfriend, go to the house looking for answers, and I think they find some and may regret doing the digging. So let's read the first line. Sunday, September 15th, 5 hours later. Eleanor. The light in the small room is cold, the stark white glare of an eco-friendly bulb. Not a 5-star first line, but interesting. I don't know how I haven't heard about this book, but it sounds so good. I'm going to actually read the inside flap because the premise is just fantastic. This is Mirrorland by Carol Johnson. Kat lives in Los Angeles, far away from 36 Westerk Road, the imposing Gothic house in Edinburgh, where she and her estranged twin sister, Elle, grew up. As girls, they invented Mirrorland, a dark imaginary place under the pantry stairs, full of pirates, witches, and clowns. These days, Kat rarely thinks about their childhood home or the fact that Elle now lives there with her husband, Ross. But when Elle mysteriously disappears after going out on her sailboat, Kat is forced to return to the house, which has scarcely changed in 20 years. The grand old house is still full of shadowy hidden corners, and at every turn, Kat finds herself stumbling on long-held secrets and terrifying ghosts from the past. Because someone, Elle, has left Kat clues in almost every room, a treasure hunt that leads right back to Mirrorland, where she knows the truth lies crouched and waiting. Oh, that sounds so good. Let's read the first line. I really think it's gonna be a good one. Prologue, September 5th, 1998. The sky was pink. Oh God, not a 5-star first line, but that premise? Wow, okay, in any case. Those are all the books that I've picked up recently. Sorry, I'm looking at Winnie because she's kind of sniffing around the room. I think I might have to go and let her out. So I will love you and leave you here. Let me know in the comments below if there are any books that you have your eye on, that you've recently acquired, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye!